Well, hey there, Internet folks. I wanted to talk today about the experience of re-experiencing Interstellar again, and the way that that has made me reflect on movies and the experience of watching them in general. I don't know if it's been the same for people across the various ponds, but here in America, we've been having re-releases for Interstellar for the past week because it's the 10-year anniversary, so they've been showing it in IMAX and 70mm again, and the screenings have been packed. I've seen it twice in IMAX in the last week, and genuinely, both times I went to the theater, it was such a touching experience to see it full to the brim of people who are all giving their full attention to this 10-year-old, 3-hour sci-fi movie together. The interesting thing for me, though, was that I've never been like over the moon in love with Interstellar. I could always appreciate its technical merits, and I knew that it was kind of good on paper and appreciated aspects of it, but it was never among my top favorite Nolan movies. That would be The Prestige and Oppenheimer, I think. And in general, I think I mostly never felt really emotionally affected by the movie. I experienced it as this kind of grand, hallowed, reverent science fiction epic, but the heart never really touched me. Until this time. I'd seen the movie in theaters when it first came out, but I don't think I saw it in IMAX, and I recall the theater maybe being empty when I went to go see it back then. But genuinely this time, seeing the film in a packed theater in IMAX again, and then again, was like experiencing it for the first time. And that kind of got me thinking about the circumstantial, practical, relational, physical aspects around how you watch a movie, and the ways in which that affects your enjoyment and connection with it. An interesting thing in the past few months has been that I've shown my movie at about a dozen different screenings around the country so far, and every single screening has been like watching the movie again for the first time for me, because I'm watching it through the eyes of all the people who are seeing it for the first time. At those screenings, some things have seemed quite universal, a moment that everyone seems to connect with, or a scene where everyone laughs together. But a lot more things have been quite subjective and dependent on the group that's in the room together. I've seen some screenings where one or two people laugh at a particular line, and then suddenly the entire room is dying laughing together. And then other screenings where no one laughs at that moment. I've seen some screenings where everyone seemed to connect with a particular moment and all talked about it together afterwards, and other screenings where no one really seemed to connect with that moment at all. So the particular people that you're seeing a film with and their sensibilities can contribute greatly to whether a film connects or doesn't, or what parts of it connect and don't. But even going back to the Interstellar and IMAX thing, the physical, material conditions can also influence things greatly. I was thinking about the various screenings that I've had of my documentary recently and kind of rating them in my head based on the reactions that happened afterwards. And it's not an exaggeration to say that the larger the screen, the more people sat close to each other, and the more distraction-free the environment, the better reaction to the film there was. Of course, I found that to be the case with Interstellar as well. The material conditions around the film, seeing it the way that it was meant to be seen, changed my connection with it in a drastic way. I bring all this up because A, I think it's really interesting, but B, there seems to be this mentality that goes around that good movies will be good regardless of how you watch them. A great movie would be great on your phone or in a movie theater, and that's a sign of quality. We should be able to watch things in any context, and if there is truly quality there, we'll be able to perceive it. Among some, there's even a perception that artists who expect you to watch their film in a particular context with a particular attentiveness or reverence, like, say, Denis Villeneuve saying that Dune should be seen in IMAX, they're pretentious. They are gatekeeping the theater experience. They're forcing you to watch art in a certain way, and if their movie was actually good, it would hold up on my TV at home. Of course, I would say that most good movies do have elements of quality that you can perceive regardless of the atmosphere and conditions in which you watch them in. But I would still say that people underestimate the ways in which those environmental or communal or relational factors do influence subtle things about their reaction. I always appreciated Interstellar in an intellectual way and was able to perceive that there was filmmaking quality there, but it wasn't until I saw it in this context that I was able to actually connect with the heart of the film on an emotional level. For some people, and I think even for myself sometimes, this realization can be frustrating. It's like, how do I even perceive the quality or lack thereof in a work of art if all of these environmental factors are so subjectively influencing my opinion of it? But to those people, and even to myself in that situation, I would say that what I have learned to love about film is the temporal, experiential, subjective aspects of the medium. Yes, once a movie is finished, it will always be the same movie for the next 10, 20, 30 years, but how you watch it, and when you watch it, and what state of mind you watch it in, and who you watch it with, will still change the experience drastically. And that means that, especially if you appreciate a work of art, you can actually develop a relationship with it rather than consuming it once like a one and done product that doesn't ever change again. I have seen the movie RRR 17 times, I think, and it's because I've watched it with 17 different groups of different friends. And for me, the movie is new every time I watch it with a new person because it's a new experience. That may mean that it is harder to be fully objective about a work of art. It may mean that you have to hold your reaction with a little bit more open hands, thinking that perhaps it might change someday. It may also mean that the environmental factors, like how much attention you give it, who you watch it with, and what size of screen you watch it on, can be more important than you think to how much you end up getting out of the film. But to me, this kind of subjectivity and evolving relationality is what has made me fall in love with movies and want to keep loving them for the rest of my life. Anyway, it's just a thought. I'll see y'all soon.